The night my husband called me useless, he did it in front of his brother. We were sitting at the kitchen table, bills spread out. His voice was tired, irritated. "I carry this entire house," he said. "What exactly do you contribute?" His brother chuckled. "You married well, didn't you?" he added. I stared at the unpaid electric bill between us and said nothing, because I already knew something they didn't, and in 3 days they would too. My name is Margaret Hale, and my father had just died. We were married 22 years, 2 grown children, a mortgage nearly paid off, a life that looked stable from the outside. From the inside, it was different. My husband, Daniel, liked to remind me that I hadn't worked in years. I left my accounting job when our son was diagnosed with asthma at 5. Hospital visits, night breathing treatments, school calls. Daniel said, "We can afford it, stay home." I did. I managed the house, investments, insurance renewals, property taxes, college applications, repairs, medical paperwork, everything. He managed a small construction firm, and over time, he started to believe the money only came from him. The night he called me useless, he pushed his chair back and said, "Maybe if your father left you something useful, you wouldn't just sit here." That part caught my attention. My father was a quiet man, retired civil engineer, never flashy, never rich-looking. When he passed, Daniel assumed there wasn't much. "Probably an old truck and some tools," he said the week of the funeral. I didn't correct him. 3 days after the kitchen table argument, we sat in a law office downtown. Daniel insisted on coming, just to make sure everything's clear, he said. The lawyer, Miss Ellison, was precise, calm, organized. She opened the folder. "As per the final will of Robert Mercer," Daniel leaned back confidently. I folded my hands in my lap. "The residential property will be divided equally between his 2 children," Daniel nodded slightly, "along with the contents of the estate." He relaxed. Then she paused. "There is also the matter of the Mercer Holding Trust." Daniel frowned. "What trust?" I kept my face neutral. Miss Ellison continued. 10 years ago, Mr. Mercer established a private holding company. Its assets include commercial land leases, municipal infrastructure contracts, and a 40% stake in a regional utilities partnership." Daniel blinked. "I'm sorry," he said. "How much is that worth?" She looked down at the document. "Current valuation places the trust at approximately $14.6 million. Silence filled the office. Daniel laughed once. "Wait, 14 million?" Miss Ellison adjusted her glasses. "0.6. He looked at me slowly. "You knew about this?" I met his eyes calmly. "Yes." The room felt smaller. Daniel shifted in his chair. "Why didn't you say anything?" "Because you didn't ask," I replied quietly. Miss Ellison continued reading. "Margaret Hale is named sole trustee and beneficiary of the Mercer Holding Trust." Daniel's voice cracked slightly. "Sole?" "Yes," she answered. He turned to me fully now. That's ours then." I didn't respond. Miss Ellison closed the folder gently. "There is an additional clause." Daniel straightened. "The trust is protected under separate property designation. It is not considered marital asset under current state law." Silence again. Daniel swallowed. "That doesn't make sense." "It was structured prior to inheritance under asset protection planning," Miss Ellison explained. "Your father was very thorough." My father, the quiet engineer, the man Daniel once called simple. Daniel leaned toward me. "So this doesn't go into our joint accounts?" "No," I said calmly. He sat back slowly. The confidence drained from his face. "What are you saying?" "I'm saying," I replied evenly, "that I'm not useless." The lawyer looked away politely. On the drive home, Daniel was unusually quiet. At a red light, he finally spoke. "I didn't mean what I said." "Yes, you did." He tightened the grip on the steering wheel. I was frustrated. "You were honest," I corrected. The next week changed everything. Daniel started asking questions about the trust. How liquid is it? What are the distributions? Can we refinance and expand the business? We. That word returned quickly. I listened, and I watched. 2 weeks later, his brother showed up at our house. "So," he said with a grin, "big news, huh?" Daniel smiled awkwardly. I didn't. "What's the plan?" his brother asked. "New house? Investment? Vacation property?" I answered calmly. "The plan is stability." Daniel looked at me sharply. "For who?" he asked. "For me," I replied. That night, after his brother left, Daniel tried again. "Margaret, we're married. This changes everything." "Yes," I said softly, "it does." He paced the kitchen. "I've worked for this family for 2 decades. And I've managed it," I answered. He stopped. "What's that supposed to mean?" "It means the retirement accounts you think grew on their own. I diversified them. The insurance audits? I negotiated them. The property tax appeals? I filed them. You built income," I said steadily. "I protected it." He stared at me differently now, not irritated, not superior, just uncertain. A month later, I made a decision, not out of anger, out of clarity. I met with Miss Ellison privately. "I'd like to update my own estate plan," I told her. "And," she asked gently, "I want the trust to remain separate." When I came home that evening, Daniel was at the table again. Bills spread out, same chair, different posture. "I've been thinking." "So have I." He looked up. "You're different." "No," I replied calmly. "You just see me differently." He opened his mouth to argue, then closed it. For the first time in 22 years, the power in the room felt balanced. Not because of money, because of knowledge. My father didn't leave me wealth to change my lifestyle. He left it to protect my dignity. 3 months later, Daniel asked me something he never had before. "What do you want?" Not "what we want." I looked around the kitchen. The same walls, the same table, the same man. "I want respect," I said quietly. And this time there was no laughter, no brother, no smirk, just silence and understanding. Because sometimes inheritance isn't about money. It's about revealing who people really are when they think you have nothing. And the real question isn't how much my father left me. It's this: who would my husband have been if he thought I was still useless?